I need another phone so I can do a video recording. Okay, it is 17:05 on March 24th, 2026. This is the Black Canyon City Water Improvements District Regular Board Meeting being held at the Black Canyon City Library. Notices were posted, including notice of a ratification on Friday, and I don't know what the date was, but
March 12th.
Okay, and posted at the library, on the board's website, and at the office. So we're going to do roll call. First we do the board members, and then all of you other great people. So I'm Elaine, board chair.
Shawn Collins, member at large.
Melina Reylek, treasurer.
Tom.
Board Secretary Tom Strizak.
Devin White, board counsel.
Julie, office clerk.
Utility clerk. We have a new name.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, utility clerk.
And from the public we have that's Cindy Melandro, right? And
Bonnie Richards.
And
Carol Bachelor.
Carol. We got everybody. Oh, and look who's here. You are
Irene Brooks.
perfect. Irene, do you have your phone you want to record? I'm missing a part to the. Although I'm going to try and be really intentional about verbalizing everything.
People announce who's speaking.
Pardon?
We can have, if I'm going to speak, I can say Devin White speaking.
Correct. But she likes that. I'm so sorry to walk in the door. Irene. Okay.
We miss you.
Consent agenda. There are the meeting minutes noted are January 27th, the regular meeting pending, special meeting of February 12th pending, and regular meeting of February 24th pending. And we will get those completed soon. But in the meantime, we're not going to vote on approving any of those minutes. Chair's report and activities for the last month. And I know it looks like there's a lot on the agenda. Some of the items will be for discussion only, not necessarily to vote or take any action, but I have to put them under new business so those items can be discussed. And that's why the agenda may appear to be a bit long. So the first one is update on the WIFA well loan reallocation of funds. This is interesting, and I'm pretty excited. I spoke with Morgan Burgess, I think it was last week, don't ask me to tell you when, but recently, and we need to submit a request, and I do have the template that I need to use to complete that request to reallocate the funds, and it needs to be well related. So we need meters on our wells. For a water district to not have meters on their wells it doesn't make any sense. We do have 1 meter on a well, but we need 5 more. I have asked Tyler with KP Ventures, and because Tyler did the WIFA well project and KP Ventures is already set up for all of meeting the WIFA requirements, this is not one of those things where we're going to get multiple bids. We have to stay with the contractor that we've been using. He's already established with NACOG because they have to follow the Davis-Bacon payroll requirement. So that's all good. So I'm just waiting for Tyler to get back to me so we can walk all of the well sites, and then we need to estimate the amount of water that's being pumped, and that will determine the size of the meter that we order. So all of this is in process. It's exciting. The ball got dropped, but it's been picked back up, and I hope to move forward with it within the next week. And then update on the NRWA revolving loan application. Nothing has been done with that. Again, another matter where the ball got dropped, but I'm waiting on legal counsel. we need it. What is it? An affirmation of
A legal opinion. So there's a few things that would provide a certificate of good standing that you guys are created and validly existing.
But because they did that for the Wiffle Well loan, and we spent a whole lot of money, it should not be as lengthy or expensive. Correct?
I think that's fair.
Is that fair?
Yeah.
So I'm just waiting for legal counsel to let me know when they might have that completed, and of course then we would have to have a special meeting. But this is to get to replace meters. The loan is for $200,000, and it finances up to 75%. So we would have to decide: do we want to say that we're going to spend $250? We spend that $50, and then they give us the entire $200,000. I think I might need to check the math, but that's close. It's very low interest rate, 3 something. It's very compatible with WIFA interest rate. The big difference is with WIFA, you have to pay interest for 10 years. With the NRWA loan, you can pay it off whenever you want. So that, I think, is much better. I don't like the thought of paying interest for 10 years if we could pay it off sooner. So the Wiffle Well loan would help us get the meters for the wells, and the NRWA revolving loan would help us get more meters for the district, which I cannot emphasize how badly we need to get these meters replaced. It is essential. We need to really look at our revenue, because we are not generating enough revenue, and we don't know we can only guess that we're losing it in not knowing how much water we produce, how much water we sell, and how much water we're losing. And I think this meter chaos, where the meters were read, we entered the readings, and we had bills of $100,000 and $200,000. I think that demonstrated how long it was since the meters had been read, and that you look at that loss of revenue, it just blows my mind. So these need to be a priority for our 2026 goals. Update on the new operations RFP posting. It was discovered that the last RFP posting for operations was seriously limited. I wrote another RFP and posted it on the Arizona Rural Water Association website. I'm going to post it at the NRWA website. I sent it to Gateway Community College. They have a water and wastewater program, and the director of that program sent it out to all of the alumni. I sent it to the water manager in Camp Verde, and Prescott Courier is looking at it, and I expect to hear from them any day as to how much they will charge to publish it and run it in that. So I really, really pushed to get the RFP out so that people would see it and have an opportunity to respond. Update on the operations contract. We can discuss that later in more depth, perhaps, but the current operations contractor has until April 15th, and then another 2 months, which would be the last extension, would need to be signed. For the district, the board needs to determine if that's the route that we want to take. Update on Metron meter training. Julie, myself, and another individual went to a Metron University seminar, and it was quite interesting. And these meters, and they're well worth it. So 50 meters runs $20,000, which is about $400 each. And then it's an additional $85 to $100 to install the meter. So every meter costs about $500. And we need to take the expense of this very seriously and make sure we're installing these meters correctly. And Julie and I kind of choked when they said, well, you have to drill a hole in the lid of the meter box to put the antenna out so that it gets the reception that it should. Otherwise, and I hate to say this, but I believe that the people who have installed the new meters, all of them, the antenna is shoved inside the meter box under the dirt.
Not
Which
mine.
means we're spending $500 on a meter, and we're probably shortening the lifespan, and we're definitely not going to get the results that we should get without it being set up properly. And we'll go into that later a little bit more because it would require an amendment to the current operations contract because at present, according to Derek Scott, the operations owner of the operations company we're using, he is only required to install 5 meters a month. And if we want him to install more, we would need to amend his contract and specifically state. So we had 40 or 50 meters identified on a report from a third party when we had the meter chaos. And we are not replacing the meters they recommended we placed for them not working. And how many customers have we come in, have we had come in and they would say my meter's not moving at all?
Quite a few.
So,
Too many to count.
Wow. I would just piggyback on that, just so we're clear. We have not seen that limitation in the contract. It is Derek's position, but we have not seen that limitation in this contract.
Right.
Just so the board's clear.
right. So, but then it was if we brought someone on to install meters, he would sue. And as we get into this, I'm just going to kind of give you a foundation. We have a gentleman who is a licensed, insured contractor, works in town, does amazing work, and he is offered to install meters at what we would pay a contractor who doesn't know how to install them. And he went to this 4-hour seminar, so he is well versed in how to install them. So he would only charge the $85 to $100 an hour to install them, and it would be done correctly. And because this is an investment, these meters are so important. Having unskilled, untrained people specifically who know how to install these meters, I think, is a mistake. We need somebody who's been trained, who's qualified, who knows how they operate, and who we can trust to do a good job. And so I would like the board to consider that option as we move forward in having this. It would not cost the district any more than paying a contractor, $85 to $100. It would cost more, obviously, for this person to have to go back and drill holes in all the lids and make sure that all the meters have been installed correctly. But when you look at the revenue we're losing, what we would have to pay this contractor is nothing in comparison to the loss that we're taking at revenue right now. BCCWID Water Operator Internship, and this is just a conversation, a dialogue that's kind of in the early stages. But I'm adjunct faculty from Gateway Community College, an alumni. I taught in the industrial environmental program, which included water, wastewater, and I reached out to that program director and asked him, hey, what if the district wants to train or have an apprentice or an intern come here? We could hire some local people and not only offer them a job, but help them move forward in their career and help them become certified operators. And while Gateway doesn't have the remote educational, they're not set up for it. Remote, Rio Salado is. And so he's talking to Rio Salado. I've asked the Arizona Rural Water, I've asked some other districts if they would be interested, because this is the only program that offers the certification or a degree in water, wastewater, and we can certainly use it. So I think it could be an exciting opportunity for us to develop our own operations team, and so that's just an exciting piece of information that I hope continues to move forward. Update on meter reads and billing. Julie, what? Today we printed out the bills
For March. We are caught up.
It is,
Been over 3 months.
we knew it would take 3 months to correct all of the issues and get back on track. We go through every single bill. I've seen your bill. I don't remember what it is. I've seen your bill. I've seen everybody's bills because we go through them and look to make sure that they look normal. We only had 2 this bill run that were thousands of dollars. It still needs some correcting. Otherwise, it looks like we're back on track, which is great. The annual audit, when it's in process, and we got an email, and another one will begin. 23, 24 is in process, and 25, 26 will be started. So, the operations report is very bleak, if you will, and I don't know why. It is a custom. It is a practice that at every board meeting, the operations leader tells us our well depths. But our operations person refused to do that at this meeting. So I'm not sure. I have no answer to that other than we will get them. So his operator notes included Big John. Arsenic levels were non-detected or 0 for the last 3 months. All compliance samples are in and passed. Oh wait, here we go. Static well level 24.6 feet to water, and here we estimated GPM 85. So he's noted 3 wells, but we have 6. Correct?
5.
5? Okay, thank you, Tom.
Functional.
GOA, arsenic levels were non-detected or 0 for the last 3 months. All compliance samples are in and passed. Static well level, 25.1 feet to water, and estimated GPM 80. And 3, Oasis, arsenic levels were the same. Static water levels were 25.4 feet to water, and the GPM was 70. So we're missing 2 wells.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Yes, I'd just like to say that if we're looking at basically not getting any information. We used to get lots of information. Nothing about blue stakes, nothing about service calls, nothing, we're getting nothing here.
And I agree with you on that, Tom. It's a valid point. And that's why we have an RFP out looking for a permanent operations team.
Yeah.
This current team was only on a limited contract, which was probably a good thing. And there's other options, there's some other options we can discuss for an operations team.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And general manager's report, summary by me.
Nothing. We get nothing there either.
Well, our general manager stepped down. We're waiting for some reports that we have asked him for. And that's going through legal counsel. And hopefully those reports will be available in the near future. However, I think the key items that we were looking for from him are now back in motion, and that would be the WIFL loan, the revolving loan, the RFP posting, Metron training, and getting our goals for 2026 lined up. So we're still making progress. We're still advancing, even though there have been a few bumps in the road. I think the one thing that's really important to talk about is invoices that were not submitted. Invoices from December, January, and February that were submitted just recently that the district didn't know about. I didn't know about because all of the invoices were going through the district manager for approval and then going to our CPA for payment. And we processed between February and March $89,705.17 in invoices. I know, and many of those we didn't know about, and in fact, the majority of them. And we have one payment still for $8,444.45 for A quality Kingsway leak repair, and that's a pretty old invoice. And Irene, you remember when you were having issues at your place and they were out at night?
Yes.
And
First week in December.
and Mike brought out some parts to fix it. That invoice was $9,000 and it still hasn't been paid. He came to the meeting last month, and I was a bit surprised. But the good news is we have another person that if we agree on her contract, she will be coming in the office, and she's going to take over all of those responsibilities for tracking invoices, making sure people's getting paid, making sure the CPA has the information, and boots on the ground here in the district and not in a whole different city, like an hour and a half away. And I expect that this is going to really improve how things are managed here. And it won't be a contractor, it will be an employee. So I'm excited about that. Here are those invoices if anybody wants to look at them. I did post the financial report, the bookkeeper's report, on our website already. And I just have to emphasize that we post the bookkeeper's report every month on the website. That goes over every check or warrant that has been written, money that has been transferred, what we spent the money on, and it's there for everybody to see how much money we have, and this month how little we might have. But things are coming back up, and we're making progress, and things are looking much better after that billing challenge. So we're going to go to new business. A, discussion on possible action regarding approval of ratification resolution 2026-1, ratifying the board's actions taken at a meeting on March 5th, 2026, namely the decision to hire Alicia Michaels for the utility clerk position with the district without properly agendizing the possible action. And if anybody wants to see, here's a copy of the bookkeeper's report.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
I see that you also have posted the RCAC rate study, which would be of very great interest to the public, I believe.
I did post it.
Yes, I'm saying I see you posted it. Very good. Yes.
The rate study, so people can go and look on the website and see what RCAC's recommendations are for increasing our water rates, because the board will be meeting in the next couple of weeks, and we are going to really focus on increasing our revenue. and that will be through water rates and kind of looking at and making some adjustments on just some of the fees for installing meters, etc.
Yep. So they can find that under reports on the website.
What?
They can find it under the heading reports. And then financial reports and audits. That's where it can be found.
So how do I initiate that?
So I'll read through the resolution. It looks like this is not the copy I have, so I'm going to read off this copy. We'll print it. We'll sign it. And so on March 5th, as you guys know, the board met to interview and evaluate Alicia Michaels. The board eventually decided to hire Alicia Michaels, but that piece of it was not on the agenda. Therefore, we're going to do an open meeting law ratification, hence the 72 hours notice posted Friday. The 5 members present at that meeting, four, with the same 4 here today: Elaine Clayton, Tom Strizak, Melina Reylek, and Shawn Collins. Again, because they elected to hire her without it being agendized, they'd like to move forward with ratification. We have a resolution that I'm reading through the recitals of right now. And so with that, Madam Chair, if you would like to entertain a motion and to ratify the decision to hire Alicia as utility clerk, you may do so.
I'd like to entertain a motion to ratify the
decision to hire Alicia.
The decision to hire Alicia Michaels as a utility clerk. Second?
I need a motion.
Oh, I motion that.
Shawn motions, okay?
Oh, Shawn made the motion?
Yeah.
I guess I'll second it. You're going to second it?
No, I know.
Melina has seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Discussion.
Oh, sorry. You're not here. I can't.
Okay, so discussion, if I could speak, and so we'd like to hire her, and, but we didn't have a contract. So, the contract, that's going to be voted on separately, right? We're going to discuss that, and okay, so this is basically like, we're just basically saying we'd like to hire her. That's what our vote.
You're redoing the decision you made last time. If you remember, Tom,
yeah,
the decision was you were going to hire her pending or subject to the
okay.
agreement contract.
Yeah, I just want to reiterate that. And can we move the phone a little closer to you, Devon? Because I can hear Elaine really loud, but I can't hear you so good.
That's just her voice.
If it can just be a little, if it can be closer to you and a little further from her or something. But.
We're sitting right next to each other.
Oh, so. I see. Okay, yeah, just.
I'll just try to.
If you can speak a little louder, that'd be great. Sorry, can't hear it too good. But Elaine's voice cuts through really good. But okay. And
so we have
a motion, a second. Any further discussion?
All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, so Elaine will go ahead and execute that resolution then.
Okay, B, discussion and possible action regarding approval of proposed employment agreement with Alicia Michaels, and authorization for board chair and board secretary to execute the same. And I have that employment agreement, which a utility clerk position has a 15-page contract or something. It's like
9
Pardon?
9 pages. And it's missing. It's missing the scope of work, I believe. Item
Tom,
A.
I know that you had questions about that, so do you want them to bring them forth now?
Yeah. Basically, the benefits and leave, and I actually have to pull that email up, I guess, with that attachment. But the benefits and leave, I guess there's just a lot of ambiguity in that and how that works, actually.
Yeah, and Tom, I can speak to that. So there are, which on this is actually a lot of highlighted provisions. That's because the only term that we were aware of, that was agreed on was the hourly rate. So everything else is up in the air. And so you mentioned benefits, for example. So I believe what we say in there is something along the lines of, benefits, if any. And so that's subject to the board's discretion right now. If the board wants to offer her specific benefits, we would typically speak to those specifically. And so you can approve the contract today and authorize Elaine or whoever to negotiate the final terms for and execute the eventual contract as modified by your discussion today.
I think one of the things that I wanted to mention was that I don't think she needs the benefit. So if we put that she chooses to waive the benefits, that she is that an appropriate comment?
Well, you'll have to. The short answer is yes. So the only thing you have to give her is the paid sick leave. Everything else you can remove if you'd like.
So and how much paid sick leave?
So we have it at the statutory minimum of 1 hour for every 30 hours worked, up to a maximum of 24 hours per year.
That's by the state, right?
That's the state minimum.
Okay, so
but vacation leave, holidays, or retire, that sort of stuff is all up to the district's discretion.
And I think it's challenging for us because the district has never, to my knowledge, had an employee. It's always been contract, and so
it's never had real good standards either. So we're trying to get all that stuff up.
It would make sense to offer like a week per year, I think.
Of vacation?
Yes.
Yep, sure. Again, whatever the board directs. That's up
right.
to the
I mean, this is our opportunity to discuss it as a group.
Yes, sir.
Since it's on the agenda, and otherwise it's like, oh, well, then we're going to have the next meeting and try to, figure it all out. So, if we can try to hammer things out now would be good.
So how do you feel about a 1 week vacation a year?
Okay, so here, I don't know if we had, just looking at the contract, it's a week is probably reasonable. I know, I was in the union for 27 years, and we didn't have any kind of week off paid vacation. We got paid.
Well, you were in a bad union is all I can say.
Yeah. Well, no, we had vacation pay. So a portion of our paycheck went to vacation. But, it didn't actually have where you actually just, had paid weeks. So I guess this is just what I'm not familiar with, and it's being done differently. But, if this seems reasonable in the industry, then, I'm good with it. 1 week. There's something in here about vacation leave 2 weeks. So are we going to change it from 2 weeks to 1 week? Is that?
That's what you guys are discussing right now. If you would like to change that, section
maybe
6A.
1 week after the first year and 2 weeks after the second year.
Right. Yeah. I mean, performance-based kind of. And so.
Well, you can't performance. I don't think you should performance-based vacation. That's not a typical. But saying, 1 week vacation after your first year of employment, and 2 weeks after your second year, and then leaving it there. Because as it stands now, since we are a government entity in essence, people take all of the federal holidays off, which are substantial, although they don't get paid for it. Right.
Okay, so 1 week sounds good. If we're just going to, and then 2 weeks after, that sounds like a good thing.
Okay, so we're going to change sections. Well, first of all, these sort of other benefit programs, other than vacation leave, holidays, paid sick time, do you want any?
I think that you said 3 days of sick time, working 30 hours because there is a requirement for that. That would be appropriate. We would need to comply with that.
Correct, yeah, other than those three. So other than vacation, other than paid sick, other than holidays, is there any other benefits?
Yeah.
None that I can, none that I can think of, no.
Okay.
And
so vacation, go ahead, Tom.
Oh, thanks. So it says basically vacation leave beginning on the 91st calendar day following the effective date of this agreement, I imagine that means, after it's, we enter into it and it's signed and becomes effective, the employee shall accrue paid vacation leave at a rate equivalent to 2 weeks per year. We're going to change that to 1 week, prorated based on hours worked. So,
Yep.
How is that working? Like, so for how many hours do they earn, how much of that paid vacation?
I believe generally it's 0.2 hours for every hour worked, I believe is how that works. But again, you're not required to give vacation leave, so that's up to you guys.
But I think we want to value the people that come in and work for us. Otherwise, somebody else is going to value them. And I think this is something that we need to do. And hopefully, when our revenue is where it should be, we can continue making sure that the employees of the district are compensated fairly, because we want them to stay.
That sounds reasonable. And so, just so we have an understanding of how this actually is working, prorated, and she'll be coming in 3 months into the year here, so you get a 1 week on, like, into the next year after it's been a full year, or prorating, and however.
Yeah, so if you want her to have she won't be on a calendar year term of contract. If you hire her today, as both sign a contract today will be the effective date.
Right.
And so therefore the 1 year term is from today.
I see.
So she won't get leave until March 25th of next year is kind of what I'm saying.
Right.
And that would be 1 week. And that's the first week she's eligible to accrue leave.
Right. And that's just what got a little confusing to me, was accruing, or however, because her hours could end up changing and all that. So that's why you kind of would be going by an accrual basis.
Right. Yeah. So, essentially, 0.2 hours for every day worked. That's about an hour per week is what that adds up to. And that would be up
on
to
a 40-hour average work week, or?
Well, you could, again, however you'd like it. So I just make it
0.2
hours per working day. So for 1 working week, 5 days a week, you get 1 hour of vacation per week.
Right. So should that be in the contract and specified, or?
Sure. Yeah. Happy to. And I have that right here. So 0.2 hours for every day.
Right. Very good. So that.
Is there something in here about reviews? Like every 6. We need to add that.
Okay. Annual reviews.
Should have the opportunity to have a review with a potential for
biannual. Right. Or every 6 months.
I think
like a midterm or something like that. Just so you could, if someone's on track and you don't want to wait a year for it to come to an end, I think.
Julie, how would you have felt about having a 90-day evaluation to see if you were on track with what you? And I know
I think it would be a good idea.
So 90 days, we'll have an initial evaluation, and then at 6 months, and then at the end of the first year, it would be to see regarding a raise. That would be, that way it gives the employee an opportunity to evaluate how the district sees them working, how they see themselves as an employee, and that this is where you need to improve, and then at 6 months, and then at the end of the year, you should be on track then for a raise, as long as you do well in those other 2 points. I think it's important for employees and employers to communicate how they think they're doing, how the employer thinks they're doing, what they think could be improved on both parts, and maybe even opportunities for, like Julie went to the Metron Meter seminar, and that was great because while she is a utility clerk, she deals with meter reads and all of the things related to meters, and so that was a great opportunity for her to go and learn more about how meters operate. And when customers come in now, she is probably better equipped to say, well, maybe I need to put a work order in to have this checked on your meter.
Okay. I think so. That sort of ties into Section 8, which is compliance with district policies. So typically, your annual reviews, your performance reviews would be controlled by your employee handbook or employee policies. The reason this one is highlighted is because we're not aware that the district has any policies. So my recommendation to the chair and now to the board would be consider instructing legal counsel or taking a shot yourselves at drafting an employee handbook, employee policies that govern some of these things. Otherwise, we can just pull that section out, and then the contract controls everything. But if you're moving forward with, you're going to have a few employees, you're going to have many employees.
Well, she needs to get on the same path as what.
Right. And then you discuss district coordinator and some of these other roles that you might fill as employees. It would be a good idea to move toward having an employee handbook that governs them.
You're right. And that, along with the bylaws and policies and procedures and the long list of other things we don't have that we need.
Does the contract, doesn't the contract cover everything that's going to be in the handbook? The handbook is just another aspect of that?
Not necessarily. I mean, you can have policies that speak to things the contract doesn't.
Okay.
A lot of times, so another thing which we're going to circle back on is what type of employee she is. Okay. So we have her being at will, meaning although she has an employment contract, she's still severable at will. Sometimes people have term employees and then employee handbooks that cover at will employees.
Okay.
So those are two different things. With that, I guess we can segue into the at will conversation if you guys would like.
Go ahead.
So as you may or may not know, Arizona is an at-will state, meaning you can be hired and fired for any reason or no reason, with or without notice. That is only modified by contract. Right now, although we have a contract, we specify in here that she's at-will, meaning there's no one-year term, there's no 90-day term, it's at-will. The district can terminate upon certain notice as specified in the contract. And so that's highlighted because we weren't sure if that's what you want. If you want to bring her on as an employee with a set term, that's perfectly acceptable. It's up to the board to decide that. But we left it as at will for now.
Actually, more helpful at will, just because we've had back-to-back headaches.
You are so right, Shawn. That is such a good point. I think this is a step in the right direction, so we don't have to deal with this contract nonsense. And yeah.
So just go with default, right? Default at will per the state law.
Right. Okay.
Sounds good.
All right. So that sounds good.
And we'll put that employee manual right on the list with all of those others, and perhaps we can. We have another. My goal would be, and within 60 days, to hire the other utility clerk, and hopefully we can have the district coordinator position lined up so that we would have 2 utility clerks and the district coordinator liaison, and all 3 of those positions at this rate would come in at about $86,000 a year, and our budget amount is $100, so we would be within that budget, which we have got to stay on budget. I have, we currently have Philly insurance, which I will not say. I've been working with them for 14 months now, and so I've reached out to a couple of other carriers, one who specializes in special districts, and I'm getting quotes on what if our insurance premiums could be reduced, because I think with Philly, the last one of it's like over $12,000. It was hefty. So I'm going to see if we can reduce our insurance costs, and then, what we need to pay to add workers' comp for the employees. So I'm hoping it comes back at a better number, and an insurance carrier that's more organized than.
And Madam Chair?
Yes.
Did you previously just say Julie is now a utility clerk?
No.
You just said you're not office clerk, you're utility clerk now. You just said that before.
Tom, when I looked at Julie, what I said was she needs to have the same type of employment agreement that Alicia has, and we've never had a name.
That's what you meant.
Office.
Okay, it's not what you said, but it's what you meant. Okay. So you're basically talking about Julie becoming a utility clerk, employee, same type of contract, correct?
Yes, Tom.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And so, Madam Chair, I have a few more things. Just keep it rolling. Tom, you mentioned the scope of work. You'll notice we included a blank. I'm not sure if that was part of the Indeed posting or if you wanted to prepare that and insert it. But it needs to be inserted because right now, again, we just cite the scope of work as usual, but you need the scope of work.
Yeah, so, because, what I got sent and what I had to work off of and basically prepare for this meeting was the contract that I got emailed. And then, so there is no Exhibit A or scope of work, right? And it's like basically to be attached. So what you're explaining, I guess. But otherwise,
yes,
right now it's kind of, we don't have that. That needs to be made up before we sign a contract and before we vote on a contract, correct?
That's subject to the board's discretion. Again, as I mentioned, you can approve the contract and authorize Elaine or whoever you'd like to negotiate the final terms for and execute the contract. And
boy.
Because I
that gets sketchy, yeah.
I'm not sure why you would think it gets sketchy. The scope of work is going to have to change because we've never had a scope of work for this position ever. I can note things that I am fully aware of. I had asked Julie at one point, Julie, you need to, get a clipboard and on it write down all of the things that you do during the course of the day, for a couple of weeks. And it's just been too hectic to do that. So this scope of work is not going to be, it's going to be fluid. It's going to have to grow. It may have to be modified some because we have never done this. And so to say that we have that pinned down before we can vote, I think is...
Well, otherwise it's kind of like, well, Chair, just do what you want, Yeah, just, Well,
I think maybe we could come up with a list as a board. You as a board could come up with a few of the things you'd want to see on there, and then they can, be incorporated into the eventual scope of work. If maybe you have some ideas, Tom, and Elaine, I'm sure maybe you have some ideas about what you want to see.
We'll let Julie offer some insight into that, and I'll right back. Okay.
Well, it looks like she has to cover a lot of things that Julie's not able to do, and there's a lot of things we're gonna, that's why we're hiring her, and there's all these things we need her to do. That's why what we saw on the resume, things looked really good, and looked like, oh, she can do this, she can do that, and those are a lot of the things we need her to do. But those are things that Julie's not able to do, and so, we.
Tom, what you are looking at is more geared towards the district coordinator liaison. Right now, she's coming in as a utility clerk. As a utility clerk, she's going to do and train in the same position that Julie is in because we voted that she be hired as a utility clerk, not as a district coordinator. So I hope you're not confusing.
Well, that's also creating a lot of confusion.
I'm sorry, Tom. Tom, wait.
As to what?
Tom, please. I hope you're not confusing the utility clerk responsibilities with the district coordinator? Okay.
Maybe I am, but what is a district coordinator now? And
well, we have not decided, and she was not voted to be hired as a district coordinator because we don't have that role identified. We're transitioning.
Yeah, I mean, we're becoming a really big company for a really small water company.
Tom, we have Tom. Excuse me. We will not have a district manager. We decided that.
Well, that's for sure.
Tom, excuse me. We decided the role was important and that the responsibilities were important, but there were things that just weren't working. We want to have somebody in the office. So instead of paying someone $85 an hour or $2,500 a month for nominal amount of work, we're paying 3 people $86,000 a year to take on all of that responsibility. We need 2 people in the office. So when Julie is sick, I don't get a call saying, I'm sick, I can't come in, and then we don't have any coverage. So we need that second utility clerk. We need a district coordinator, but we need to identify what that position is going to look like because we're saving $100,000. Jerry charged $30,000 for the first 3 months of this year. So we're saving a lot of money, but keeping the responsibilities and taking care of the tasks.
Right. Let's see how that all works out. Okay. Yeah.
Do you have a better idea, Tom?
Less confusion, less complication, less chains of command, and it's getting really complicated. But this is your vision. This is your vision. We're following your vision here. Okay. So let's see how this works out. Our budget, we're just a little company. That's all I'm saying. And, we're looking at, there's issues with like hiring employees and there's like unemployment compensation. There's, at will. Yeah. Okay. Well, unemployment. Okay. That's an issue too. There's issues with.
What would you recommend, Tom? What would you like to see happen?
I almost would like to go back to one manager that managed everything and everything went pretty darn smoothly, except there were some issues, things that were lacking. But
and Tom, how much time have you spent in the office since you've been on the board?
It doesn't matter. I see what's going on.
Tom. How much time have you spent in the office to really understand what the office is like?
I don't know. I probably have about 10 hours in there. I don't spend much time in there. I've been in there. I don't know, but we got plenty of money to spend. Let's do it. Let's get all these people. And let's get all these.
So what are you basing your assertion that having one person in the office is better? What are you using to validate that? Could you please explain?
Well, no, I see having a backup. I see if somebody's ill, but basically, okay, so we were at, the last person, which didn't work out too good, and this is for 20-some years. The one person, was up to like 90-some thousand. So 96, I think, was their last contract. And so, but she handled everything, every single thing. I don't know of any issues ever coming about, really, anything major. And it was one person. She was a contractor, worked for herself. So, we didn't have to pay, the owner users. We weren't even on the board, but we didn't have to pay, workers' comp or, any of these, insurance, Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare benefits, whatever, all that stuff. That, it's all not free. And, it's all going to add up, and we'll see over time how things all, come together here. But,
Natalie is aware, and again, I want to emphasize that all 3 positions, and not having a district manager, the cost will be $86,000 a year, which, according to Natalie, that leaves plenty of money to pay for all of the things that you're talking about, and our budget is for $100,000, so we are staying below budget. So I'm not sure what your issue is with the money part.
Well, let's just see what happens with this budget and everything here. Yeah.
Okay.
So carrying on anyhow. Okay, moving forward.
Okay, great.
Yeah, moving forward, we're down to section 6 of this agreement. This is the work schedule. So again, independent contractor, you can't really have much control over about when they're going to be here and that sort of thing. Employee, you can. So right now we have it just that the regular work schedule will be established by the board and monitored by the board chairman. We could specify in the agreement, if you would like, what the hours will be, or we could leave it as, essentially as directed by the board, in which case I would suggest as part of these amendments, you make that decision now.
I think because things are fluid in the district, if we pin somebody to certain hours, that could be problematic because I think people need to be flexible. I think the hours need to be a bit flexible. Julie, what are your thoughts? You work.
I think, and if we have 2 people in there, we can separate the duties so that we're more accountable for what each person does for that job instead of trying, like right now, I'm trying to do it all basically, and it's hard to do when you've not been trained correctly. So I think another person would be good, and you could do like, see, I'm supposed to be there 9 to 3, so you could have the other person come in maybe 11 to 5, or, we could do different hours on how that person works so that there's somebody there at more hours of the day.
I think that because these are new, that we need to have the room to grow and develop what this is going to look like as we move forward. I think if we try to make exact decisions now on how everything should look and this is it, that we'd be shooting ourselves in the foot.
We want to be able to move around a little bit and find that sweet spot. If we pin it down now, we don't know the sweet spot because we haven't even played with it yet.
Right.
And the board can always change its mind. The one thing I would say is you should set something today.
Okay,
but you can always change it.
Have a little saying, hey, we might, up to the board, we can change it later on.
Yeah, and you can.
Okay.
It's established
like
by the board.
8 to 5 or something like that. Or what is it?
We need to experiment with it. Maybe.
Oh boy, these experiments. Oh
or
boy. Yeah.
Later after Tom, excuse me, or somebody saying later in the afternoon. Maybe that would work. I think being closed 1 day a week helps a lot. How do you feel about that?
It does help, but I think once we have 2 people in there, we would be okay to stay open all 5 days.
Okay.
Because we just have customers that, even though they know we're not open, they still want to come in.
Yeah, maybe just have that employee say, hey, during Fridays, whatever day we want to say, you do specific work to catch up. You know what I mean? But have it still open with the other person then.
So you don't think that 1 day where the office is just closed and we're able to do all of the stuff that, because sometimes it's really hard if you're working on something and people come in and you keep getting interrupted, that makes it really challenging to get some.
I think now that we are finally back on track with our meter readings and our billing and stuff, I think it would be okay to go ahead and have all 5 days, 9 to noon, or however hours we want to set. I think it would still be fine to have that open for the customers to come in.
Okay. And I think, your opinion is important, and and working with Alicia coming in, that's important as well.
Okay, so if I understand correctly, under item 5, work schedule, the employee's regular work schedule shall be established by the district governing board, the board, and monitored by the board chairman. So that leaves it basically flexible.
Correct. Although, again, if the board doesn't want to set hours here today, I would recommend changing that and just allow the board chairman to determine the hours. Because otherwise, you will have to come to another board meeting to change it, which is fine.
I think the last is the best option right now. I don't think we want to get stuck in something that's definite, that can't be changed to accommodate what we see is and isn't working.
So additionally, if I may, the employee acknowledges that the schedule may be adjusted as necessary to meet the operational needs of the district.
Yes, sir.
So that seems good. I mean, what are we looking at like right now, just right off the start? 30 hours a week? Is that where Julie is? 30 hours a week or?
Yeah, that's what I am.
Okay, so now we're looking at 2 employees, so now we're at 60 hours a week, but 60 man hours, 30 hours per each of you. Is that what we're looking at to start with?
Yep.
Yes.
Right?
But again, I think we need to leave it open to the last statement. Could you please repeat that? Because this is...
Sure, so I'll read the whole paragraph. Again, this is section 5 in your agreements. The employee's regular work schedule shall be established from time to time and monitored or updated by the board chairman, and I added this part, in coordination with the district's governing board. So you're not bound by the district, but you just coordinate with the board. And moving on, the employee acknowledges that the schedule may be adjusted as necessary to meet the operational needs of the district. So that gives you some pretty broad discretion in there to set the total hours, the daily schedule, etc.
Would you agree with that? Okay.
Devin?
Okay. Yes, sir.
Am I looking at the same contract, or I'm looking at here Schedule 5 work schedule? Is that what you were just?
Yeah. That's what I'm reading, Tom. But the version I just read you again, I'm sort of making some notes and changes
I see.
as we're talking.
Right.
With the idea that the board's motion will be to approve the contract subject to these amendments. So the changes we're talking about and what I just read you will be in the final version that's approved and signed.
I see.
And that's just to keep things moving
Sure.
on.
Very good.
And so Shawn and Elaine stepped out, so we actually lost our quorum momentarily. So we'll pause here.
Oh, yeah.
I guess maybe that can be a chance for everybody to take a little 5-minute break.
Right.
You're not smoking it. I'm trying to grind out your. I'm already having more cigarettes. Turn it down. What? How are you doing that? How am I doing that? Prayer and supplication. And I'll tell you what's good. Most stuff will watch it. Huh? Want to chew it down? Do we have any?
Maybe some protective cover if it goes like last meeting. I was surprised not so many people showed up. I thought we'd have a similar group as last time.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Slow.
Maybe we answered a bunch of questions.
Yeah, I think again those meetings are hard, but they're productive at the end of the day.
So we take a break?
No, I think that's true.
Lost our quorum.
So Friday,
Lost our quorum. So you guys both said that. So we should take a little break.
I got all day long. I was like,
Yeah. Hey, fair enough. You missed all the excitement at the last meeting. Now we get a nice quiet one for you. I think we're at excursion.
it was 2 months ago. The last one I talked about it last one.
Well, again, because it was the meeting, remember, we met with Jerry after he came by the office. So March 5th or whatever that was, a couple weeks ago.
I wish I was there.
It is what it is.
I was at school.
Yeah.
And someone pulled the fire alarm.
That's what it was. That's exactly what it is. Yeah. And it wasn't you.
It feels good that I'm not at the school right now because it's so much where I worked on.
Right.
we still haven't gotten over here.
See?
Yeah, we still haven't gotten over ours. No, I know.
We've had a rough week. Okay.
Yeah. And the same day my neighbor died. That was on the old one. Last week.
Rebecca.
Okay, let's go.
Okay,
we're back.
Yep, we're back, and I'll just keep it going so we can get through this thing. So, benefits and leave, again, we got rid of all the extra stuff. Now it's just 1 week of vacation leave after the first calendar year of employment, occurring 0.2 hours for every day worked, up to that 1 week limit. After calendar year 2, she's eligible for 2 vacation weeks. So 80 hours.
Very
Holidays. Holidays, paid leave on legal holidays or unpaid leave on district holidays?
What do you think?
Not the first year.
First year unpaid, second year paid?
If they do a good job.
So first year unpaid, second year paid?
Does the district observe federal holidays? Do they observe holidays?
It seems they do because nobody ever shows up.
This is most of the districts do paid holidays.
Get paid.
That's definitely
It says most special districts have paid holidays for their employees.
Okay, so do we want to do paid holidays from the beginning?
I mean,
Do we want to compete with the market?
I think that's the right thing to do.
Okay. Julie, how do you feel about that? Of course. Tell her she
What would
has
she
a
not?
paycheck waiting
Yeah.
in the office and she'll run.
No, I think it's just incentive to keep your employees working there if they do get the paid holidays and, things to that effect.
Melina?
I've never had a paid holiday, so.
Well, you've never worked.
I have worked.
You've never worked for a really good.
I think we're teaching.
No, I was a librarian.
Oh, librarian.
Whatever you guys want to do is fine.
Tom?
I like the 1 year. That's an incentive to get the paid the next year and thereafter.
I don't know. I think paid holidays that.
It's like standard.
It's a standard practice among the districts.
It's super
I
standard.
never
It's
got
not like
paid holidays. I got time and a half on holidays. I got paid time and a half, and I worked on holidays. But no, I didn't.
This is not about you or.
Yeah, no. I know. This is government. This is government.
You've had.
Right.
Tom.
No, this is government. Yeah. This is. So
This
yeah.
is about.
Right. But
The district
we don't
wants
have big government money. That's the problem. Okay, but
This is
let's
how
do it. Let's do it. Yeah.
This is how the district wants to treat their employees. Not necessarily the way you were treated or the way Melina was treated, because I think it was kind of unfair.
It's not how I was treated. It's the industry I was in, and it was standard in the industry. But
Yeah. So, Tom, the entity that we're in right now.
yeah,
standard
government.
Paid holidays.
I see. Okay.
Okay,
So we're just trying to stay to a standard. That's all.
I think paid holidays would be appropriate.
Okay, wrapping that one up. Paid
Right.
sick time.
You already went through that.
Okay, we're good. So we're keeping the minimum 1 hour for every 30 hours worked, up to a maximum of 24 hours per year. Okay.
Right.
Compliance with district policies. Again, I know we put the policies handbook on the back burner, so we'll just pull that provision out. Okay. And that gets us a good much of the way through. I'm scrolling through. That was the last one we had highlighted. So, other than the scope of work, and so again, it sounds like that is going to be inserted. Go ahead, Tom.
Oh, just a question. This doesn't really affect anything, I don't think. Just compensation. And I'm just wondering, what is non-exempt employee? Is that actually non-income tax exempt?
No. That's a FLSA, FMLA term. That's not to do with tax.
Oh, okay. So I'd like to know what that means, I guess, if I'm going to be voting on the contract. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Sounds good. And again, just in terms of compensation, it's $24 an hour. I can just pull up the FLA standards right here. I mean, it's essentially if they work more than 20 hours, you're subject to overtime rules. That's the gist of the thing.
All those state standards are on the website.
Correct. Yeah. So I think, Tom, that's standard. That's nothing special, nothing specific to this contract or anything like that. And again, regarding overtime, we say in Section 5A that she needs district consent before that, and your control.
Right.
The state requirements for any employee. Yeah. If you don't meet those requirements, it puts us in a hairy situation.
Okay, so are we all
okay?
Because we need to go into an executive session to discuss AJT Solutions, and I also want to give the people who are here a chance to.
Oh, well, I still had questions.
Go ahead now.
Okay, and so basically, this was section 16, I guess. And if you can just explain this, so I'm just, a layperson here, so I'd like to understand this better, the waiver and amendment.
Yes, sir.
And,
just kind of from a high level, you want me to go over it? That's just saying...
Just in layman's terms, or so I can understand this a little better, I guess.
Sure, so let's say, she breaches this agreement somehow, no failure to assert that as a default and pursue some sort of enforcement against her can be held against you. You retain the right to pursue that claim at any time. And then most importantly, the agreement can't be modified except as in writing signed by both parties. So nobody can say, oh, she told me I can do this. It needs to be in writing to modify the contract.
Right.
This last sentence here is just, let's say she did breach in some way and you said, okay, fine, we'll agree to that. That can't be used against you for a future breach of the same or any other provision. So you let her off the hook one time.
Okay.
It doesn't give her carte blanche to do it again.
Right.
It doesn't excuse any separate and distinct breach of the agreement.
Okay.
I like that.
Very good. Thanks. That helps to understand it much better.
And so that's that one at a high level, Tom.
Okay. And governing laws construction. So this,
yes,
again, I'm a little confused on what that really means.
So contracts have to be governed by law. State has choice of law principles that suggest that maybe the state that you're in won't be the laws that are applied. Again, your situation's a little, distinct from that. But we'd just like to specify that you're subject to Arizona law because you're in Arizona. These are what you call standard boilerplate provisions, so you'll find them in many contracts. And then the construction piece, the default rule is that if there's ambiguity, it's construed against the drafter. Meaning, if there's ambiguity, the employee would be able to argue that ambiguity should be ruled against the district, meaning her interpretation of the contract wins. This construction section provides that that is not the rule, and that it's interpreted, just based on argument essentially. So you waive that rule we were just discussing, and both parties do. And that's again because the district is preparing that agreement. We want to include that to make sure that the district is not, penalized essentially because they prepared.
It puts us in a good position.
Yes. Thank you. I think I understand that. And
it's 6:20. Do you have anything else?
No, that was the last thing on my list, really. And so,
okay,
if it
so
puts
I would like to entertain a motion that we accept the employment agreement for the utility clerk with the changes noted by Devin.
Yep. And then I would also authorize the board chair. This is going to be specific, so we're going to authorize the board chair to negotiate the final terms for and execute the agreement.
I'd like to make a motion.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure Irene was able to get that language.
Okay, so if we're still in discussion or before we jump, So I don't know that I'm really comfortable with that end of things. I did have, basically, that was a concern on this contract.
Well, with the discussion, Tom, I would like to say this. I have been in that office every day, 8 hours. How often am I in the office, Julie?
I don't know. You may have rode some people out.
Wait, Tom, please don't interrupt. How often am I in the office?
You're there a good 6 hours every day, if not more.
And can I do most of the tasks in the office, from taking payments to all of that?
Yes.
So how well do you think I understand office operations right now?
I think you're getting a pretty good idea.
So I think I would be the most logical person to develop this list, because I have firsthand knowledge of what the tasks are, how they need to get done, and I think that my knowledge of how the office operates is far greater than any of the other board members, Tom.
Okay, yeah, and so if you want to say, well, we're gonna raise you up here from 30 hours a week to 60 hours a week and give you some overtime.
This is identifying what the job assignment involves. It just has nothing to do with pay. It is simply putting together a description of the position and the responsibilities assigned to it.
Yeah, Tom, I would second that. I think really we worked through a lot of the questions and highlights that I had for you guys, and so really the last thing left is the scope of work. That's the last big piece. Mm-hmm. And then having a motion like this just gives you guys some flexibility to, let's say we want to add something or we forgot something. It gives the board chair the ability to just do that without needing a subsequent meeting. And so again, some additional flexibility for you, but really it's whatever the board is decides as a group.
Okay, and then there was one other question I did have, and this regarded overtime. Basically, under waiver and amendment, I believe 16. I think it was in that area, but something about shall not work overtime hours without the prior authorization of the district.
Yes, sir.
And so, who is the district? In other words, who is it that gives the authorization? Again, should that just be changed to the chair, to the board chair? I mean, that's just going to be the board's decision, the chair's decision.
When you say the district, you're talking about the board. The board is the governing body. That's who acts on behalf of the district.
Right.
We say authorization of the district, that would be a board decision. Now, I think it would be perfectly appropriate to authorize the board chair to allow overtime, again, consistent with setting the work schedule, etc. But that's up to you guys.
I would have to agree with that, because if we need somebody to work overtime on Tuesday and we don't have another board meeting for 3 weeks, that makes no sense.
Right. So there. Yeah. So we could change that, and that could be Elaine's decision there, and we'll just trust her to, be discerning with that. But yes, and so that's all. That was everything I had. Thank you.
I've worked for you for 14 months, and there's a question as to my. Okay, so
I think the Madam Chair is looking for a motion. We're looking for that motion.
He made the motion. I will second the motion. All in favor, or any more discussion?
No.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Alina? Aye. Tom?
Aye.
Okay, so motion passes unanimously. Do we have any comments from the public? Because we need to go into an executive session, and Irene, I would appreciate you staying because you're a part of the executive conversation, as long as Lillian's okay. Oh, yes.
I just say one sentence, pretty much. My friend told me twice this week that there was an angry mob outside the water office because the water office was closed, and they wanted to either pay their bills or discuss their bills. So I would just suggest if the office is closed, put a note on the door or something and let the public know why or when it will be open again, just as a matter of public courtesy.
And I appreciate that statement. However, Julie was sick on a Monday, and I wasn't aware of it, so she was too sick to come in. I didn't know, and when I got there, it was probably 10:30 or so because I worked from home in the morning. I didn't know she was sick and not there, so there was no opportunity to put a note on the door. Then there was a note on the window, and it said that the office would be open on Tuesday. We're normally closed. And closed on Wednesday because we had the Metron meter training. So
it's just a matter of letting just communicating with the public.
So how would you suggest?
There was an angry mob there 2 days.
I don't think there was an angry mob. I do appreciate the description that other people might relay. But if Julie is sick, and now, praise God, we have a backup plan. But if she's sick and she can't come in and I'm not aware of it, how would you suggest we get a note on the door?
Message, maybe?
Who are we going to text?
You?
But then, and what am I going to do?
Can't you put a note on the door?
So I'm working from home. I already spend every day of the week and most weekends at the office.
All right, it's a suggestion.
We're rectifying with another employee, right? So we're getting another employee so that won't happen as often.
And this one's not on the agenda, so if you'd like to instruct staff to
discuss
follow up, I think that would be appropriate.
But thank you. I appreciate the feedback. But anyone else?
Oh, yes, I'm Bonnie Richards. I just really have been having a problem understanding the bill. I get a bill. I'm a snowbird. I'm paying for water year round. My bill is supposed to be going to my Colorado address, and because I didn't want to keep having Sarah have to switch it back and forth every time. But now the bill that I view online is not the same as what it says I owe, and there are.
I'm going to let Julie speak to that.
Okay.
That is because where we got behind on, had to stop the billing. So we were behind 3 months. So Paystar or whatever you go through to find that, they have not been able to calculate, I guess, where we're actually at with the bills. So the ones that you actually receive is actually the one that it is because that's the most current. Paystar is not.
The one I receive in the mail.
Yes.
Or the one that's online.
The one that you get in the actual card that you get.
Okay.
From us.
Oh. But the card still has the date for months in a row now. It has the date of November, whatever, to December 19th.
And that was because when I do billing, our software does not allow me to change those kind of dates. I'm only allowed to change certain dates, like the due date and when we mail them. So it prints up, it was very disturbing to me too when I print those out and try to explain to people because it wouldn't let me do anything different. Now that I'm back on track, now that we just did Marches, everything's right back the way it should be. So I apologize for all that inconvenience during those
I have late fees, but I keep my bill paid.
Right.
I don't understand the bill. So, and the other issue that I was hearing from people was they call, nobody answers the phone, and no one answers the messages they leave. I personally didn't do that, but I've had to do that from several years.
I've been trying to do better at making sure I get back to everybody and get the messages taken care of. It's been really kind of,
And I agree. I think returning calls and checking the messages has to happen every day.
Yep.
And not one owner user should not have their call returned by the next day. So that needs to be a priority, and we need to make sure that it gets done because I totally agree with you on that. I would get really upset if I called and left a message and I didn't get a return call at least by the next day. So I will absolutely take out the whip and make sure that gets done.
But yes, it is getting done now. I am trying to keep up on all that.
And so the board will direct staff to pursue that, but we'll leave the discussion.
Okay. Anyone else? All right. Thank you guys for coming. I know it has been hectic, but this whole billing thing had to happen. It was a Band-Aid that had been put on a huge mess, and when we ripped off that Band-Aid, It was a mess, but it could not be avoided.
I don't know what kind of meter we have.
Madam Chair?
If you have the new one, you would have got the notice in the mail.
Not necessarily.
What?
No.
My meter is only 4 years old.
Do you have a Metron meter?
That's what I'm asking.
You don't have the benefit.
You know what? Call the office and she can look and see if you have a Metron meter.
That's true.
And I promise I'll get back to you if I don't answer.
Hey, if you
Hello?
don't get her here at BCCWID.org, just tattletale.
All right. I've always gotten good responses from Tom when I send emails, so.
Well, thank you.
Okay.
Well, it needs to go to the office or the chair, not to other board members, okay?
Madam Chair?
All right.
Bye, Carol. Bye.
Yes, Tom?
Just a heads up, we're at 6:30 right now. 6:30
I know,
p.m.
Tom. I see the clock right in front of me, and we're going into an executive session.
Right. Okay. So I'm going to stop I'm going to stop the recording. You're going to stop the recording if you're recording on your end, and then start again.
Tom, wait,
Before you stop recording, Tom.
Yes.
The chair is going to entertain a motion to enter
Oh,
executive session.
yes. Mm-hmm.
I'd like to entertain a motion to enter into executive session.
I second the motion.
Sean made the motion. Tom
Second.
accepted it.
Oh,
All in favor, say aye.
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 Approved unanimously. We are now in executive session at 18:31.
Okay, Tom, so stop that recording. Start
Okay.
the new one.
Yeah. Okay.